in my Lego kingdom. Last time, the Dragon Emperor Nograd had summoned a shapeshifter who transformed itself into the very likeness of one of the Red Heart Guards, the Praetorian Guards who surround King Cuthbert, with the purpose of infiltrating the Order and then waiting for the ideal opportunity to kidnap King Cuthbert and bring him to the Dragon Emperor's lair. But while the shapeshifter makes his way towards his deadly kidnapping mission, King Cuthbert suddenly has unexpected visitors. The Wizard of Oz, ruler of the adjoining land of Oz, who hears all and knows all that surrounds him, knows of the Dragon Emperor's kidnapping plot. And because of this, the wizard has dispatched his ambassador and his guard on an emergency mission to King Cuthbert to warn him and offer him support. The ambassador brings gifts from the wizard, powerful emerald elixir and rods of green, and offers to instruct the king on their uses that can make the armies of the good more powerful than ever before. But then, Ambassador Bolts reveals a surprising fact about himself. He and his accompanying guard are in fact a clockwork entity, not human at all, but built by the wizard out of nuts and bolts and clockwork. An army of clockwork soldiers, like the ambassador, stand ready to come to the aid of King Cuthbert and the armies of the good. These fighting forces are almost invincible. Will the assistance from the land of Oz be enough to push back the Dragon Emperor's kidnapping plot? Will the clockwork soldiers from the land of Oz join with the armies of the good to finally stop Nograd the Mighty and bring peace to the kingdom? The answer lies in the future. Tune in again next time and see for yourself. Hi, I'm Tom Bray since 1954. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week I'm really excited because I've done two things that I think will be of interest to you. The first is I added a Wicked set, which is really the land of Oz, to my Fantasy Castle world. And also I took a collectible minifig from Series 27, in this case the Steampunk Inventor, and I turned it into a character from the land of Oz, and I'm really excited about that. I'm going to tell you about both of these things, and I want to start with this collectible minifig that I have custom out as a new faction from the land of Oz. Now, if you're familiar with the Wizard of Oz book series, which was written at the turn of the last century, begun by L. Frank Baum, who, of course, created the whole idea of the land of Oz. He wrote, about a dozen other books after The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And then after he died, it was continued on. The series was continued on by an author named, I believe, Ruth Plumley Thompson, who also wrote a series of books. So these were tremendously popular. And one of the things that is one of the rules of the kingdom of the land of Oz is that inanimate objects came to life. And in this case, if you'll remember the original story, the Scarecrow is not a flesh and blood, human being. It's a scarecrow, which in our world would be an inanimate object. But the Wizard of Oz, in that story, these inanimate objects come to life. They have life. And all throughout the book series, that idea is carried forth. And there's a series of inanimate objects that become main characters in the subsequent Wizard of Oz books. Now, I thought it would be really fun in looking at this Steampunk Inventor. It just struck me that it looked like, and with this idea of steampunk and gears, it looked to me like it's very possible that this wasn't a real person, that this could easily be imagined as a clockwork kind of robot, a steampunk robot, which would be a clockwork figure. And so in my imagining of the land of Oz, this Ambassador Bolts, is not a flesh and blood person, but an inanimate object, something created by the Wizard of Oz as a kind of robot, a clockwork robot, which they would call, in the parlance of steampunk, a clockwork entity. And that there would be an army of clockwork soldiers as well. And so what I did was I put a bottle of green elixir in its hand, and then for its guard that accompanied Ambassador Bolts, I used some extra parts from other Lego sets. The green rod, I believe, is a lightsaber rod. I'm not sure about that. Maybe you can tell me in the comments whether it is or not, but I'm almost sure it is. And then the hairpiece is from a Ninjago set that just has an emerald green band across the front, and I thought it fit really well as a kind of guard figure. Now, I don't have enough of these steampunk inventors to make an army yet, but I intend to get more of them. And when I do, I'll figure out how to customize those as the clockwork army that comes from the Land of Oz, which I'm really excited about. It's kind of silly, but I love it because it does tie in with the original mythos of the Land of Oz books, which is inanimate objects coming to life. Now, next, let me tell you about this Wicked set, because last week I integrated a Ninjago set into my Fantasy Castle world, and it integrated really, really well. And this week I finally got around to building set number 75684, which is Welcome to Emerald City, which is a part of the new series from the Wicked movie that Lego has put out. And it's very castle-like, which is why I loved it and decided that would be the set that I bought because of the three, I believe there's 3 or maybe 4 that were released. This is the one that fits most into a fantasy castle world because it is a building and very castle-like. First of all, let me talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the doll figures instead of minifigs. I was a little worried about this and worried I would hate them because I've always been on the fence about this doll thing because I don't really have a lot of experience with them except in the Friends sets, and I don't really build those sets. I keep them unopened for my granddaughter, but in this case, I opened it and I built it, and I must say that I was pleasantly surprised by these figures. First of all, because it's from a separate kingdom in my fantasy kingdom, the adjoining Land of Oz, I find it very acceptable that there are dolls in the set and not minifigs. It's a different kingdom, and so a whole different vibe as to the inhabitants of it. Now, there are 5 dolls in this set. There's Madame Marble, the wizard, Elphaba, Glinda, and Fivero, and these are all characters from the book Wicked, which was made into a musical and now made into the musical film. And one of the things that surprised me and I really like about these figures is that they stand easily on a table without any sort of base. And so they don't topple over easily like a minifig does. They're not kind of top heavy. And so I found that a pleasant surprise, and I'm really excited to use them. I really hope that Lego comes out with more kind of building sets in the Land of Oz and not kind of doll sets. I would really like to see more scenes from the Land of Oz that incorporate buildings that I might be able to incorporate into my Fantasy Castle set. Now, about this set, I like it again because it's vertical, just like last week's Ninjago set. It has 4 tiers to it in the center section, and then 2 side builds that attach. And they all attach, but they come apart, just like a castle set would, where you can rearrange it in whatever configuration you'd like. The other thing I love about the aesthetics of this set is the rounded lines to it. It's very deco looking with those kind of round lines and also those kind of tubular, clear emerald green features of the build, which really make it a very Wizard of Oz vibe, Emerald City vibe, which I really, really love. And the accents of gold, which are really beautiful. I think aesthetically it's beautifully designed. There are, pink flowers that are all around the set that complement it extremely well, and also mirror Glinda's dress. So all in all, it's very carefully thought out, the colors, the shape. And once again, it's a dollhouse set, so it's open in the back. where you can see what's going on inside of the rooms, as well as see that Wizard of Oz head that the real actual wizard hides behind to strike fear into everyone that comes into its presence. I love that head. I wish it wasn't a decal. I wish it was printed. You know, like all, I think, users of Lego, we're not very enamored with decals. There is a sheet of decals, but it's only one sheet. It's not too bad, but I do wish these were printed. You know, I wish these were printed parts. I think most Lego builders wish that. The last feature that I really love is the fact that Elphaba is flying up top by the use of that little wand that sticks out of the tower. And I think that's just delightful. I think it's just a great touch, and I'm really happy that Lego did it. So all in all, I think that this set fits in beautifully with my fantasy castle world and with my lore. And I'm very curious as to whether or not you have your eye on this set and you'll be integrating it into, if you're building a fantasy castle world, whether you think it fits. So leave me a comment about that. I know that many of you integrate Harry Potter and anything that smacks of fantasy, certainly Ninjago, some dream sets. And so I'm wondering if you think this will fit for you. I think it fits because it's my adjoining Land of Oz, and I'm making it the Land of Oz. And that's one of the reasons is because I've read those books and as a kid, and I'm very tied into the concept of the Land of Oz. So I'm very excited about it. Until next time, thank you so much for your continued support, and happy building.